Taking a look at the octave inside of a larger shape, what I played was this starting note C. However, that's not the lowest note of the shape. The lowest note of the shape for C major is G. G is the fifth of the key, so we call that shape 5. So this scale is inside of this scale. So there's your root if we are grouping that group of notes into a major key. The next major scale was this, F, and the lowest note of this shape that sits right on top of this position is also G, and G is the second of F, so we call this shape 2. But inside of that scale is that note, and if we start the scale there, we're back to the shape that I played as a 1 octave fragment of that entire or complete shape. So the next shape being B flat major. A peculiarity about this is that I started the fingering with 2 and 4 and then shifted, or the reason why is because as a continuation of the complete scale shape, that is the finger that we arrive at that note, or when we arrive at that note, that's the finger that happens to be in use. So this is the key of B flat. The starting note G here again gives us, actually it's the relative minor of B flat. There's a B flat, so if I start there, that sounds very much like a B flat major scale. If I start there, B flat major, and we're back to our starting note of G. G being the 6th note of the scale makes that shape 6. When we go on, we have E flat was our next key, and I moved my next chord root up to here. So rather than going from B flat to E flat, I displaced that E flat note down by an octave, and our E flat major scale sat here, and it's part of a larger scale shape. Again, G is a convenient lowest note of this shape, and in the key of E flat, that G is the 3rd, so this is what we call shape 3, and it's an E flat major scale from the 3rd note. The last of the 5 in the order that I played them is the key of A flat major, and A flat major sits here, and A flat major happens to be a pretty convenient low note in this scale shape. However, G is still available and still in this key, so we start on the G, and that gives us a scale shape starting on the 7th, so we call it fingering 7 or shape 7. So what's happening as you go around the circle of fifths, you're still playing those small octave scales inside of the 5 fingerings. However, you're playing the notes on both sides of that octave, if there are notes on both sides of that octave. So you're sort of starting with the small part of the scale and then opening it up by adding to both sides of the scale if you have available strings within the same position.